Hey guys, welcome to the Dotwave Workshop. My name's Seamus, and today we're going to be checking out the FG Dynamics, which is Slate's new take on an SSL clone. We're also going to be comparing it to the Waves CLA Mixhub and the classic Waves SSL channel. Let's get into it. All right guys, so hopping in the session here, we have a demo that I made a couple days ago. Just a heavy song, simple. Right now all there is guitars, some light processing, and get good drums. It should also be noted that I do have a little bit of processing on the master bus, just an SSL compressor, some tape, and some light limiting, just because I like to mix top down, and I like to do it pretty early on in the process. So, okay, opening up this SSL clone that Slate's put out, the FG Dynamics. Let's listen to the track real quick. So, simple, heavy, right? Obviously it's lacking bass, but it's just a demo. I think it works for these purposes. So now let's turn the SSL compressor on the drums. I know usually you wouldn't use this as a bus compressor, but just for the video's sake, we're going to do that, just to get an idea of how it sounds. So here we go. That thing is punchy. That thing's really, really punchy. It should also be noted that I have oversampling on, which I think is super important if you're using a compressor or saturation, because it makes it sound a lot more analog, adds a lot more detail to the mid-range. I really like it. So I can exaggerate this a little bit more so you guys can hear it. That's about where I would put it if I was going to be using it in this situation. But let's crank it a little bit and see what happens. And let's also try these other features. Like we have this hard knee, we have a linear release, which I've never seen on an SSL. So okay, let's try that. Now it's pumping. All right, let's try the hard knee. Now it definitely gets a little bit more of like a tick sound on the snare when I do that. Hard knees are really cool on snares. I don't use them all the time on drums. Sometimes they're way too aggressive. And I'm not sure if I would really want to use this particular plugin as a hard knee. You know, maybe in the future. Who knows, right? But I'm really enjoying just how it sounded as the normal SSL. Let's try out this linear release and let's see what this does. So that really, really changes the sound. Without the linear release on, it's sitting really, really nicely. With it on, it takes on a completely different character. The next thing I can try is maybe let's do the linear release and then let's mess with the release setting, because I don't think the release setting we have on there is good with the linear release. I'll increase it to make it more obvious. Ooh, wow, that sounds really, really good. Wow. Ah, okay. So the gain reduction also jumps up when we do regular release versus linear release. So maybe that's why I wasn't hearing too much of a difference. Let's, out of curiosity, why don't we compare the linear release right about here. Where we have it now sounding nice and punchy. Let's turn that off. Let's go roughly back to where we were before. I think I copied it over. Yep, I did. And then we can compare between the two. And I think we had this at 0.67. So let's do that. Okay, so just a nice little bit of compression. Now let's try it with, let's compare the two. All right, so we're going to start off with this regular release, and then we'll switch between that and the linear release. All right, let's switch. very, very different sounds. It almost sounds like a different compressor. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of liking what it's doing to the overheads, especially more than anything. Maybe the linear release on overheads would be pretty cool. I'm definitely going to try that out in the future. All right, so now that we've gotten familiar with FG Dynamics, I thought it would be cool if we compared it to two plugins that I've used extensively in the past. One is the CLA Mixhub by Waves, and the other is another Waves plugin, the classic SSL Channel Emulation. Pretty old by now, but tried and true, and a lot of people use it. So let's get into this. It should be noted right now that these other plugins I have here are not on. We'll be using them later. And it should also be noted that the settings for the compressor on each of these is different for each plugin. I just tried to get it to sound as close as I could to each other because the algorithms on all of them are going to be slightly different. So, okay, I will pull the plugin that we're listening to at the moment to the front. I won't talk during this comparison. I'll just switch between them. First, we're going to start with the SSL, the Slate SSL, I'm sorry, FG Dynamics. Wow, the Slate sounds incredible. It sounds really, really good. And it's got a lot of detail in the lower mids and a lot of punch. And it is darker than the other ones, but in a way that I really, really enjoy. That's probably due to the oversampling I have on, which Slate offers, which you should do for anything with compressors or saturation. Definitely put that stuff on. It makes it sound way closer to actual analog gear. The Mixhub, I feel like it has more of like a high mid punch, where the SSL, the Slate, I'm sorry, is more of a lower mid punch. You know, which of those you prefer is kind of up to you, but I think I'm going to side with the SSL on this one because there was more air on the top end. Sure, it was darker, but it was a smoother top end compared to the Mixhub here, which kind of felt like it boosted the top end a little bit, and it sounded kind of digital. This guy here, the original SSL channel, it sounded flat. It sounded really boring. It sounds very old and dated. I'll be honest, I would not touch that anymore for any production that I'm doing. But wow, it really, I do like it better than the CLA Mixhub, which is surprising because this is a plugin I've been using quite often. The workflow in this is really cool. This is really nice. So now we're going to try something else. You'll notice I have an EQ here. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this EQ on in that plugin, in that plugin, and in this plugin. Boom, all of the EQs are on. So what did I do here? I boosted some top end at 8K, 3 decibels, and I boosted some low end at 60 hertz, 2.6. These are shelves, super normal move on an SSL, super typical. You get the airy high end and you kind of get some boomier lows. So now let's listen with this EQ on and see how that affects the compressor, because I think compressors, sometimes they don't show all of their character until you drive them with EQ. So first we'll start with the SSL, same thing, I won't talk, I'll just pull up the plugin that we're demoing at the moment. We'll start with the Slate. Did I say SSL again? I keep doing that. Here we go. All right, so once again, I personally found that the Slate is my favorite out of all of them. The top end is airier, it's smoother, it's nicer. That low mid punch really makes a difference. I heard that the snare on the other two lost a lot of power, especially on the CLA Mixhub. Sure, you get more of a high-end crack, but the low mid, body of the snare kind of disappeared. The Slate is excellent sounding. It's very punchy. The high end is not harsh. It's present, but not harsh. Wow, I'm seriously impressed. Absolutely. So last test we'll do, we are going to turn on the analog settings in each of these plugins. So the preamps, so we'll turn that on. We'll turn this on here, and we'll turn it on in the Slate. And we'll give it one more comparison, and we'll just see if our opinions change with any of this. Starting off with the Slate, again, I'll pull the plugins to the front whenever they're being used. So once again, that Waves SSL E channel is just very plasticky and fake sounding. It sounds extremely digital. Not a huge fan of that at all. So let's get that out of there. These two, though, with the preamp on, they're starting to get a little closer to each other. I would say that I kind of liked aspects of this, especially that high mid, high mid. How do I describe the transient information there is just really, really nice. Why don't we adjust the settings on this preamp a little bit in particular to see if we can make this sound even better. So let's do that real quick. There we go. That's sounding a little bit more transparent, not pushing it as much. Now let's compare that to the CLA Mixhub one more time and see which we prefer. Still, it sounds like the Slate SSL emulation just has it has more body to it, which I really like. It doesn't get as thin as the other one, and the top end is just a bit smoother. I do like the high-mid crack on the CLA Mixhub still in some scenarios. Maybe I would like it, but I think the SSL edges this one, the Slate, I'm sorry. Wow, S words. Ah, shit. I think the Slate edges this out just slightly. I really, really enjoyed that. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for watching. We'll be doing more of these in the future. Let me know if you like plugin reviews or comparisons. Definitely check out the Slate VMR mix bundle. I use it a lot, especially since they added the oversampling. It's been creeping its way back into my workflow everywhere. So thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you like this video, and we'll see you next time.